done here is that Aidan and myself have come together. Aidan is an independent. He represents a company called IloveOracle that specialises in providing functional and methodology-based learning. And myself, I basically founded Vertex IT Solutions. It's coming up to 18 years ago now. Goodness. We specialise in providing Oracle-based resourcing across EMEA, as well as now, and have been for the last 3-4 years, a digital champion for Oracle University. And alongside that, we're Oracle partners. I've been here within the Oracle sphere since version 10.6 of the e-business suite, so some time. So I'll just hand over to Aidan for him to introduce himself quickly.
Thanks, Tony. My name is Aidan Duffy. I'm an independent Oracle consultant. I've been working as a consultant in the market since '99. I worked in the UK, various places in Europe, and I'm based back in Dublin in Ireland now. So I'm delighted to be working in partnership with Tony. We think we have a really compelling combination of two different approaches, and that's what we want to present today. So.
Okay, so I guess the first question a lot of you will be asking, or may already know, is what are the current market challenges as we stand? I think it's fair to say that at the moment we're going through the biggest seismic shift in technological change for as long as I've ever known, and certainly in terms of the way in which Oracle are promoting, selling and implementing their products. And because of that, it has created some challenges in the market. Certainly, I think the big one is that at this point in time, there isn't a lot of time to be able to learn on the job, which is something that we've been able to do historically with these very large EBS, ERP implementations of waterfall methodology that have lasted for years. There's a lot of opportunity to learn throughout the implementation. Now, obviously, SaaS is implemented in a much more agile way. It's configurable rather than customizable, and therefore the actual timeline is much quicker. So therefore, there isn't as much time to learn throughout the project implementation as perhaps there once was. Also, the systems integrators are winning the majority of the work. What does that mean for you as an individual? Well, it means that either you get on board with a systems integrator or you work alongside them, and to be able to work alongside them in a cloud project, you need to be trained and certified, preferably. And that's obviously what we're here to talk about today. The SaaS market is in its infancy, particularly in the Oracle market, which that means that there's not a lot of skilled resource around, which is a good thing, and that you can capitalize on that. And obviously the fact that there's continual upgrades means that there's ongoing work just beyond the implementation for these test phases that need to happen as part of that upgrade procedure. The challenge alongside that is that obviously Oracle provide the product training, but how do you get the deep functional methodology training that goes alongside that? And that's where Aidan and I have worked in partnership to be able to provide that solution for consultants that want to be fully cloud certified. How we fit with that is providing the training platforms, but also the market understanding, giving professional recruitment advice in the cloud market, and being able to enable individuals to understand the market conditions, what rates that they may expect, where the opportunities are and how we can assist with that. So, very much it's a chicken and egg situation, and what happens first, is it the chicken or the egg? But that I think is up to you. You decide to be one or the other, but if If you leave it too late, then obviously a lot of the senior, more experienced roles that as the market matures, you know, they will start dwindling away. But at the moment, it's very much a market to be taken advantage of, I would suggest. Moving on, Aidan. So just very quickly, where does Vertex come into it? We provide technical training. We work with Aidan and his team to provide functional training, and also we provide user adoption for cloud users in terms of guided learning and contextual help solutions as well. So just moving on, what we've done is we've demonstrated the kind of 6 stages as we see it. We've analysed the training material, we've analysed the methodology training, and we've matched the two together. And I'll just hand over to Aidan to briefly talk about the functional elements that fall alongside the product training as well.
Yeah, so from an Oracle Unified Method perspective, the training is built around 6 key skills, and the first 2 of those key skills are objectives and requirements. So these are also the key project phases of an EBS or cloud project. And what we're trying to do in the objectives and the requirements is to create a really good first impression with the senior business people and with the stream leads, the AP and the AR leads, and to be able to get an immediate reputation for delivering quality deliverables using the templates that Oracle Unified Method provide with OUM, and using the examples, the real-life business scenario that we go through in the training. So what you'll be able to do once you've gone through the OUM training is understand what's expected from objectives and requirements from a functional consultant and leverage the examples and templates that we give you.
And alongside that, what we work with Oracle University is providing what's known as an Oracle Learning subscription, and that gives you a full year's worth of access to the cloud training within the product suite that you're looking to learn. So, for example, if you're a finance consultant, I know this particular webinar is more aimed at finance, but you know there is a cloud stream for HCM, one for supply chain, one for CX. So it's very divided into the skills that you're looking to learn, and within that you then learn about how the cloud solutions have adopted and evolved over that period of time, and then you go through the overview training of the product suite of which you're looking to learn.
So the next thing that we teach from an OUM perspective is how to design and implement the system. So what we're talking about is using the requirements that you've captured from the client, choosing the correct configuration options from Oracle Cloud. And Oracle Cloud, as we know, is based on configuring and choosing from the standard options that are available in the cloud. So having the cloud product knowledge, having either done the training or having access to the Oracle training, you can see what a massive advantage that would be. And then from an extending Oracle Cloud point of view, a lot of clients are testing the water with Oracle Cloud. We also teach the functional documents that you need to be able to extend Oracle Cloud so that clients can test the water with a couple of cloud modules, integrate or coexist with their EBS, their current EBS footprint.
So from a cloud learning subscription basis, this is where a huge amount of material will come across your path. I mean, essentially here we have training on demand, courses and material that is broken down into specific learning paths to enable you to absorb that training. So that's from a modular basis as well as a solution basis that you'll pick up from here, and including, you know, the integration, the coexistence elements that flow alongside that. I'll demonstrate that in more detail when I show you the system itself.
So moving on then, the next phase is our build and test. So we do a certain amount of build in that Oracle Unified Method of functional training, but we concentrate pretty heavily on test because it's that's one of the key phases, if not the key phases in an EBS or cloud project. So we go through in detail with a real business scenario, the testing requirements, the testing strategy, static test data, system test plan, and user acceptance plan. And the beauty of using Oracle's templates and the example that we give you is that the documents prompt you to ask the right questions. So if there's a section about roles and responsibilities in the document, you know, I've got to figure out who's doing what in this project, what the business are doing, what the project team are doing, who's supporting, and that's the benefit of having this training, is that you can produce extremely high quality documents.
Yeah, and alongside that, going back to the learning subscription, you know, this is role-based as well, which obviously helps, you know, taking and understanding the test cycles and putting that into play. Following by that, there is a lot of learning around the reporting and the analytics that will follow it as well.
Okay, and then the next phase we move on to is to transition or to cut over from test into production. So what we teach in the Oracle Unified Method training is how to develop and implement a cutover plan. So I found this to be an invaluable skill to have as a functional consultant, because you're actually in the room when the project goes live, and you get the credit for all the work that's been put in by people even who are not in the room. So we also cover data migration and transaction cutover activities, and that's what we teach. The other benefit of being there and implementing and running the cutover is that you're on site at the time that the new project gets planned.
Yeah, from a product perspective, what Oracle's cloud learning subscription will help to teach as well is how you convert that data, how to deal with the data loaders, the administration of the system as well, and then take you through some of the mandatory and common, obviously, upgrade considerations that you'll need to be aware of as well, because obviously that's a big part of any organization moving to the cloud.
So then we move in to summarize and sort of review the learning that we've done on the Oracle Unified Method side. So we've got a series of monthly calls, and we've got some previous conference calls on the same and other bonus features to kind of round out your functional training. So that what we suggest is that you go through the training and then sort of step back at a higher level and kind of revise what you've learned, so that you have it at your fingertips when you're asked the questions in the interviews and you're talking to recruiters or to Tony or to hiring managers about what you've learned.
Yeah, and one of the things that I really like about the cloud learning subscription that Oracle has now put together is that you get free certification with CLS, as we call it, cloud learning subscription. So not only that, they've built into a large amount of gamification, so that it's very easy to view and assess where you're at. I'll show you shortly. But on top of that, if, for example, you've become certified in release 11, and obviously release 12 is now out, but you are not certified in release 12, what the system now enables you to do is to only retrain on the pieces that you need to. So whereas the days of old, you'd have to go back through a lot of groundwork and rework over some of the learning you'd already taken part in, now it's only the analysis between the current release and the previous release, and then you just learn and upskill and retest on the pieces that you need to, which is, I think, a great addition to learning for people that are, you know, moving along with the cloud itself.
Yeah, so the final phase we're talking about is to become certified and to implement. So what we're, from an Oracle Unified Method perspective here, or the project lifecycle perspective, we're talking about using all the skills that you've learned to support you on a daily basis. So we cover each of the 6 key project phases in the project life cycle. So you'll be able to, if you're in design, you can go and look at the design docs. If you're in testing, you can go and look at the testing docs, have a look at them before meetings so that you're always well prepared for the next phase of the project. That's one of the benefits of Oracle Unified Method, or understanding the project life cycle, is that imagine being able to go onto a cloud project, having done the product training, knowing the functionality, and then also knowing what was going to happen the next day, the next week, the next month. And that's what Oracle Unified Method as a framework gives you. So we also provide a support network as well. We've got email support and WhatsApp group and Facebook groups and monthly calls. So you won't be alone in your journey through using the framework along with the cloud training.
And you know, from a recruitment perspective, and I guess from an individual perspective, knowing contractors and consultants that I've known for many years, is that you need to be able to work with a partner that can promote your services effectively, understand what you can and what you have done and what you're now certified in, and also has the networks to be able to help you get that next contract and get the next role. And that's obviously where where Vertex are positioning themselves and have been in that position for a very long time. So from our perspective, it's a key part of our solution to not only get independent consultants existing EBS consultants or existing PeopleSoft consultants, but cross-train them into the cloud, because we already have a lot of organizations that need these skills and want these skills moving forward. So there is already a demand, and that's a good thing for everyone. So just very quickly, moving on to the learning subscription platform. This kind of gives you a quick shot screen at what you'd expect. So it's a roles, skills, and topics-based learning platform. It's completely searchable. There's lots of progress reports for the individual and for organizations. You get the online testing built into the system, as well as structured learning paths. So it really helps for you to move your learning as an individual forward, and in a structured way of which you can make sense from. So just moving on, Aidan. Sorry.
Yeah. So from a functional consultant's, I guess, perspective, I mean, actually finding the information that you need, if you hit a specific problem, is a lot easier once you have access to this learning subscription, because in the old days you're looking at paper manuals or books, then you've got the PDFs, but you can't search multiple ones of those at the same time. And from having looked at the training, that's the real power, is to be able to, I've got a specific functional problem, I can search, and it brings me to the exact point in the video where they're discussing that issue. So you can be the guy who turns around the issue really fast because you've got access to this training, and I think you can all see what an advantage that would be.
Yeah, just move on, Aidan. I mean, yeah, on that note, we've actually had a client of ours that has resolved a P1 SR on the basis that they searched through the learning material and found the answer to their question, because that they needed to fix the issue quickly, and they turned around the SR quicker than they got the response from Oracle. So it can work in your favor, of course. So just looking at the new features here on this screen, we've got the content is available by release. So at the moment, it has the last 4 releases. So as new releases come out, those release numbers will change, but you can switch between the releases of Oracle Cloud to take your learning on board. You can track your progress, and you can understand how the learning paths sit together. And there is a kind of a gamification, a points and a skills basis that you can view how you're progressing as well. And not only this, you can learn by the role of which you're looking to attain. So if we can move on again, Aidan. So just looking at the actual path itself, you can see here the new user in green. It's all about getting started, understanding the basics, and then learning the role and the skills that you need to fulfill it, and then obviously attaining that certification. And then for experienced users, it's a case of, okay, we've done that, but what's new? Let's just discover what's new, update those skills, and then maintain those credentials. And this solution allows you to do all of that, which is what I think is the really powerful thing about it. So what we have here is a role-based screen that shows the Cloud Systems Administrator role. You can see it underneath that. We've got the certifications, and then it's broken down into each module. So the first one we can see here is highlighted in green. This has already been completed by the learner. They've been allocated their points, and the skill check has been completed as well. And then there are still further elements of which they need to complete moving forward, but then you can see the further modules underneath that and the progress that's been achieved as well. And then below that, you can see access to documentation and also to request lab or sandpit environments so you can put into practice what's been learned. Equally, we have topic-based learning, which again operates in a very similar way. We have the topic, and then you can pick which release that you're looking to learn. And then once you've completed that topic, the taskbar completes and it moves you forward through the process. And then at the end of that, there's a skill check to be taken on afterwards. And just quickly here, we're going through the progress report. Now you can have this as an individual or as a company. So obviously organizations, this comes in very helpful for L&D purposes, but from an individual case, you can really access and go back and retrack your steps and understand what you've completed, what you haven't, what you still need to do. And you know, if there's any questions or issues, you have instructors to hand for the entire year as well to write questions to. So you're not left alone within this progress from start to end. Just quickly here, we have the role summaries. So within a CLS, once you subscribe to it, you get access to the entire contents of that learning stream. So if you're a HCM consultant, it will be everything that's in HCM, but also it's broken down into each individual role. So if it's an ERP, then it will be finance, and you'll be broken down into functional, technical, and sysadmin. But you get access to all of these parts because to perform your role, you may touch in some of the technical aspects as well, or you may also have to need to understand the systems administration angles, some of the security or data loading, etc., etc. So it is a key part of this product that you can go from role to role. You're not just learning the functional elements, you get to learn the other pieces that makes you a more rounded individual. So just move on from there, Aidan, if we can.
Yeah, so just to kind of revise what we cover in the Oracle Unified Method training. So we're covering the 6 key skill stages. These are the 6 phases of an Oracle EBS or cloud project: objectives, requirements, design, build, testing, and transition. So what we've done is to create these workflows that guide you through the key functional documents that need to be created in a project. So we start off with the business and system objectives and then move through the rest of the highlighted docs then. And we also take a real life scenario and give you an example of how each of these documents would be filled out for that scenario. So you can take, not only do you learn the concepts, you can take the examples and leverage those to use in your project once you get started on your cloud project. So then moving into the next phase then is design and build. So again, we've covered the configuration elements. We also give out example config for cloud or Fusion. And we've got a couple of example scenarios for integration or extension of Oracle Cloud that we cover in the analysis specification. Then moving on, as I said, we cover testing quite heavily in the Oracle Unified Methods training because it's probably the key phase in an Oracle project. And we also cover cutover as well, as I mentioned, so that you can be the one who controls the go live of the system after putting in all the effort all the way through the project. It's very rewarding and fulfilling to be part of the cutover, or even better, to be designing the cutover plan.
Okay, so Aidan, if you can just set me up as the presenter. I will share my screen. I'm not sure if you've done that just yet, have you?
No, 2 seconds.
Okay.
Jonah, can you make Tony the presenter?
Yep, give me a sec.
Yeah, what I want to do here is just give you a kind of a whistle-stop tour of the Cloud Learning subscription. What you can see here, this is basically the home page of the Learning subscription. I'm currently sitting in the Oracle Financials Cloud Learning subscription. You can see at the top here that I have a number of points, and points make prizes, as they say, and any skills that I've had validated would show here as well. One of the key things I mentioned before is that you can go between releases. I'll stick with the most widely used version at the moment, version 11. And very simply, this is your central dashboard as a learner. So it shows again here the navigation, how the kind of path of learning would take place. Your home button will always take you back here, and you have this search option that will take you to whatever it is you search for, funny enough. There is a progress chart here, which will take you into, say, right, okay, this is how you are getting through your particular piece of learning. And then your My Training element means that the specific items that you wish to focus on, that you've queued up, if you like, for yourself to learn, you can add into this at your will, basically. Oracle also put on live events, which you can register for here. And you know, these are promoted on a regular basis. So I'll go back to the Learning subscription. As we scroll down, you'll see that it's broken down into some initial challenges. You've got access to Oracle Cloud Customer Connect, which you'll get free access to. I'd suggest you register to that if you haven't already. But then on top of that, you've got the kind of onboarding elements and how to get started with this product. And then this will take you through the various phases of onboarding. And as you'll see down the bottom right-hand side, there is a queue box. If I click queue, and then I queue again, that will then add that content to My Learning. We went up to the top, so if I click on My Training, you'll see now that this piece here has now been added to my queue, so I can structure the things in, and particularly the order of which I want to learn. So just going back down to your other channels here, so you can find out what's new in the latest release, and there's lots of content and videos around that. And again, if I want to look at release readiness, I can queue that for a later option and add that series to my training as well. And the main thing here, I think particularly for those functional people on this webinar is about learning by role. So if we click within that, you'll then see that we have the roles defined into functional, technical, sysadmin, and the service administration roles. We also have within that learning paths. So if I click on that, this really focuses the mind. So if I want to say, okay, I want to start off with general ledger and look at the specialism that I need in that particular area, then I build out the rest of my knowledge around the core applications that surround it. I can do just that. So clicking into that general ledger specialist, I can then add this path to my learning again, but also then I can start this journey. So if I then click on the next piece of learning that I want to take on board, you'll then see this modular piece that I showed you on the presentation. And again, you've got the option of which release you want to learn. And then you click on to start the video content. Now, all of this video content is presented by Oracle, it's certified, and it's critiqued. As you can hear, this chap's talking. The critique here is also written along underneath. You can search this video for content as well. Sorry, let me just mute this poor chap. But essentially, all of the content that's in here is searchable. It's all critiqued, okay, and it's accessible 24/7, 365 days a year. And from a learning subscription basis, you know, you get access to this content whenever you need it for a period of 12 months. So, you know, it's powerful stuff, and certainly it's very valuable to when you need to relearn certain topics as well. So it's not just about the original learning, it's about being able to go back over and re-understand certain elements that maybe you haven't quite understood or you've forgotten, for example. Particularly if you're on a project, that comes in really handy. So you follow through this learning. It's all broken down into modules. As you can see, there's quite a few. And then at the bottom, you've got a skills test, skills check that you can take. That will take you into Oracle's iLearning, and then you log in under your single sign-on Oracle account, and then that will take you through that test, and then you'll get that particular level of accreditation. So I just want to go back to the learning by role and go back to the channel. And you'll see within the channel, if I go to the functional channel, you can then break that down again even further. Now, we've mapped all of this out, and we'll talk about the timelines and the expectations of that shortly. Again, if we went into the general ledger channel, you'll see all the relevant training that comes up for the general ledger aspects. Again, you can add this role to your training. You've got a skills check on each part here because this is very high level and you'll drill down into it underneath. But also along here, you'll see that you have your lab access. Now, this is your sandpit environment. Now, what I would suggest for anyone here who opts to move forward with a learning subscription is to book your lab in advance. Give yourself a target to consume your learning before your lab. You can book these in throughout the entire year, so that's not a problem, but nothing worse than taking on board the learning, and then when it comes to the actual lab, you've got to wait a week to get the environment fired up by Oracle. So my suggestion would always be at this point to book that lab in advance, and again, you get access to these throughout the entire year. Within here as well, you also get access to your course material, which is just loading up. So you can access this whenever you wish. Unfortunately, you cannot download this material, but you can view it to your heart's content. Okay, and then as you go through your learning, you can go back to your progress and then review the certain aspects that you still need to follow through, and then to obtain your certification. Okay, that's just a brief demonstration here of the cloud learning subscription that you can subscribe to. At this point, I'll just hand it back to Aidan as the presenter, so we can continue just with the presentation moving forward.
Thank you.
So what we've done with this slide is we've broken this down into the individual phases. So from zero to hero, if you like. And this is really taking it from the first phase, from the functional overviews, the solution overviews, all the way through to actually getting an individual to market with those skills. So obviously training isn't free, we all know that, but obviously you need and want to return on that investment as well. So one, how long is it going to take you? And two, what's the outcome going to be? So we've kind of calculated this. If you spend 2 hours a day on training, it would take you approximately 4 months. Okay. If you did 4 hours a day, that time is obviously reduced by half. If you put more effort and time into it, then you can condense that learning to even less time. Now, we've mapped this out from start to end, and there is a huge amount of content, some of which you can learn and relearn as you're on a project, but obviously a lot of it you would need to learn in advance to become a cloud consultant. But essentially that is from zero to hero, and again you can condense that if you have the time. Obviously that's the other element, and the time management piece is imperative, because if you don't allow yourself time to take on the new knowledge, then quite simply it just won't happen. But also we understand from a learning perspective that being able to balance the books, take on a contract, or be fulfilling a project responsibility and take on learning is a balancing act, and that's one that we can certainly help you with to make sure you get the most out of cloud learning subscriptions, and obviously the functional training that's provided as well.
So from a consultant's perspective, the other thing to note is that what we've done here is given the entire the order to cash, the record to report, and the P2P, also the financials elements of that. So I guess it's questionable whether you'd have to do the entire suite before you can be hired for an order to cash cloud role. So this is like the full course, the full financials set of modules, and the estimated time that we think it will take. You could definitely look at, if you're an order to cash person, you could look at the receivables and the collections, a little bit of GL, and treat the other modules as summary levels rather than something that you have to go through in its entirety.
So just quickly, how do you get a role in the cloud? Well, quite simply, well, I say simply, it's working with trusted partners, and there are some very, very good Oracle specialist recruitment companies, across the world. There are a collective in the UK. We are a big hub for Oracle recruitment, and there's some very good ones in the industry. Certainly, just talking about my organisation, Vertex, we've been around since 2000. That's an exceptionally long time. We've grown with the systems and the customers and the pains and the problems that they've had in the past. And we've built, obviously, a very large customer base over that period of time. And, not only are we covering the entire red stack, but obviously now cloud as well. And from our perspective, we want to fulfill our clients' requirements with people that are skilled in that in cloud technology, of course. So, this is where we can work with individuals, look at the geographic constraints you may have, map out those clients that are suitable to your requirements, and obviously, identify those contract opportunities for you as well as those permanent ones. So, it's a big part of our service, and this is where we're obviously looking to help independent contractors and those that are looking for permanent roles to get their next cloud job. And obviously, understanding those that have been through that training gives us a real insight to get that role for the individual as well. So who could you work for? This is just a slide to show you some of the existing cloud users that are out there. Some of these are going through their projects. Some of these are consultancies. These guys are adopting this technology as we speak, have already adopted the technology, and really, there's some big brands here. And, we're coming up to Oracle's financial year end, which is in May, and there'll be a much bigger list to be added to this over the next 12 months, that's for sure, because they offer, very good incentives for people to buy their software, subscribe to their cloud licenses before the end of May. So, this gives you an idea of already the adoption that's taking place in this market. So how much does it cost? The full year's access to cloud learning subscription for all your certifications, for full access to the functional training, to our services to help you get a job, and I think there's a few other things I've listed there, Aidan. The micro certifications and obviously the full access to the labs and the instructors for an entire year. The retail price for that is £4,650. We do offer a zero interest repayment model, but also we have a special offer that's ongoing now to the end of May. We're discounting that price by £1,000. So it's £3,650 for an entire year's worth of training. Now, previously, you could barely buy an Oracle training course for that amount of money, which goes to show how technology has enabled us to move on in terms of saving money and also adding value to that learning path as well. The key thing from where I'm sat, and the message really I'm telling people there, is that we have a lot of requirements for these type of skills, and we can't fulfill them because the skills aren't in the market. So, for £300 and something a month, which is what it works out to be, you can become, a real head starter in this space and take up some of those senior roles that are out there and will continue to be out there moving forward. So, not that I'm doing a big sell, I'm trying to do a big sell here, but there is a very big opportunity for people to make an inroad into this market right now.
And this discount wouldn't be available from Oracle directly themselves? No.
No, this is a special offer that Vertex have put together with IloveOracle. So I guess that's the end for us now. There's any questions at all? My contact details are on this slide. So we'll obviously email out following this if you have any desire to have more of a one-to-one demonstration of the system. We're happy to deliver that and answer any questions on a one-to-one level. But do we have any compelling questions at this point that we can answer before we let you have some lunch?
Yeah, I think there's a couple. The first one is about whether we're going to forward on the recording and the presentations later on. So whoever has joined the call, basically the WebEx call, the recording will be, we're recording this, and you'll be able to access the recording afterwards, and we'll also send out the presentation to those that are on the list later on. The next question then is a technical one about data conversion from eBiz Release 12 to Cloud Release 12. So I guess the training would kind of help you to cover that. There is detail about using the various loading or data conversion options, from whether it be file-based loaders or spreadsheet-based loaders. Cloud is a lot more advanced in terms of what they can do, and there are videos and detailed instructions on how to do that, the data conversion. So for any data conversion, you're kind of mapping an eBiz Release 12 onto a Cloud Release 12, so there are mapping issues and kind of the soft project, soft skill side of that, and the project life cycle is all covered in the Oracle Unified Method. So we think we can safely say that that the training, both sets of training, would enable you to do data conversion.
My understanding is as well, Aidan, that the cloud data structures are very, very similar to eBiz, is my understanding. Not that I'm a cloud expert in any way, but this is what my colleagues and partners tell me.
Yeah. So the next question is about whether the training takes up any live case for implementation. So unfortunately, due to I guess contract issues, I wouldn't be able to share any current live projects that I'm working on. But what I have done is taken a candidate scenario and gone through all of the functional documents that you would need for that candidate scenario. So you'll be able to use that scenario and leverage the examples and kind of figure out why I was choosing the parts and filling in parts of the document that I've chosen. And you should be able to apply that then to your situation.
So I saw a question from I think it was Gary saying that he's done several courses on and certifications on OPN, which is the Oracle Partner Network, and through the Competency Center, and are these transferable? My gut feeling, I will have to double check this, Gary, but my gut feeling is that the answer to that is no, because OPN is not Oracle University, and they tend to not transfer things between them. But I will get a definitive answer for you, and I'll reach out to you individually on that to give you some kind of response.
Yeah, so another question there asking whether Fusion Release 11 or 12 is equivalent to EBS Release 11 or 12. So Fusion or Cloud is a brand new product, basically. So the functionality or processes are the same, but the reason we're offering the cloud training is because that's the type of ERP that clients are going for now, and it's different, basically. So another question about how is it different taking the training from Vertex versus taking it from Oracle. Tony, maybe you can take that one.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of, I guess you're referring to Oracle University directly. The real difference here is that there's a huge wraparound of service that Vertex provide that you won't necessarily get from Oracle. Oracle see the platform as very much a self-service platform, one of which that you buy it, you subscribe, and off you go. But as an individual, you won't get any discounts. That's the first thing. We're obviously an education partner, so we're able to provide those discounts. But the key thing is that we're here to support that. We've got forums. Our clients, as in the contractors and the individuals, as well as the organisations, have their own support networks. You won't get that with Oracle. Also, we'll help you to get career advice and obviously to secure your next job as well, which is a real big thing, because for me, having been in this industry now for 22 years, there's a lot of investment from time and money that individuals need to put into becoming certified and getting this cloud experience. But you need to get that return, and that's the main thing. Because if you're not, then why do it? And you need to understand and have a partner that can help you understand the market and where the jobs are and how to get them, and that's a really key thing. I saw a question from someone, I don't know who it was, but about how will Brexit impact the recruitment industry. I don't know, I wish I did, but personally, it could only make things easier in some sense, because there's now currently a lot of nations we can't recruit into the UK because of the restrictions imposed by the Home Office. So I don't know, we'll have to watch this space. But essentially a lot of the technical skills that the UK require are outside of Europe, unfortunately. So I guess we'll have to wait and see. But the main thing is that, the more skilled people we can have in the UK, the better for the clients here. It makes the recruitment process slightly easier, but it doesn't mean that we cannot attract our friends from India and from Brazil and Thailand and wherever. So those options are always there, depending on certain visa restrictions, of course. So obviously that's a political thing, try not to get into. But certainly one other question I saw here was that is there any training for CX? Absolutely. The cloud learning subscriptions will give you access to whatever SaaS product line you're looking to train within. So if it's supply chain, there is a learning subscription for that. There's one for HCM, there's one for finance and ERP, then there's one for CX as well, of course. So again, I'm happy to, we will be doing more webinars based along those product lines, but if you would like to discuss it with us directly, we'll be more than happy to demonstrate that solution to you and overcome any challenges or questions that you may have. Any other questions, Aidan, can we see?
Yeah, there's a question about whether we're recommending UCLS or the cloud subscription.
So unlimited cloud learning subscription as opposed to cloud learning subscription, it really does depend on the individual about whether or not you feel your skills will cross over other learning subscriptions. So if you are purely a finance functional consultant and that's where you sit, you do not need to buy a UCLS because that will be really a waste of money. However, if you are finance and supply chain, you may need to buy UCLS because it will be cheaper than buying 2 CLSs. So, again, we need to talk to you that on an individual basis, because unlimited cloud learning subscriptions gives you the kind of all-you-can-eat buffet, whereas a CLS is more aligned to a specific vertical.
Okay, so there's a question here about the training being geared towards functional roles and whether the training covers in detail more technical roles.
Okay. Are we talking about the methodology training or the technical training here, Aidan?
I guess both, because the cloud training does cover a certain amount of technical work, I guess. The thing to note about cloud is that the requirements for technical consultants going forward under the cloud methodology is quite vague. It's not really, because they Oracle are doing everything they can to prevent customizations and only offering integrations because nobody's willing to buy in wholesale to cloud yet, that the technical future is unsure. So we're recommending people transfer and start to get functional training, and that's what this product is primarily aimed at.
Yeah, I'd echo that, and certainly there is technical training within CLS, of course, But like you say, a lot of this is configurable rather than customizable, and that's the big difference between cloud and on-premise solutions that Oracle now sell.
Yeah, there's another question from someone who's from a financial background contemplating their next move. They asked, do they need to know any programming language before enrolling for cloud training? And the answer to that is definitely not. There's another question about the access to live labs. Are there any limitations on the labs available?
The limitation, so yeah, when you book a lab, there is you'll see a schedule of the labs that are available. You'll need to be on a certain version of Java as well. So there's a test there that you can run to make sure that your system will support the lab. There's nothing worse than wasting time when you've got a lab booked in. But you'll get access to that for 7 days, and then once that has expired, you can book another lab. So you can continue to book these labs throughout an entire year. So it really is a 12-month access to the learning, and also, there's a lot of contingent work with the trainers, the Oracle University trainers. You can access those individuals 24/7, and they have to respond to your question within 2 working days. That's a service level agreement that's in place.
Okay, question from Daniel about saying that Oracle have gone all quiet on the methodology with respect to the cloud and whether AIM or OUM. So from my perspective, AIM is dead. It's not supported anymore. The companies want to hold on to AIM. It doesn't suit cloud. It doesn't suit cloud projects or implementations, and OUM is the way to go.
Yeah, it's TCM now, isn't it, Aidan? Total Cloud Methodology, I think they call it now, Daniel. I hope that helps.
And there's another question about whether there's a product which doesn't cover learning from scratch, but I guess the impression the questioner has is that most of what we're covering is for someone who hasn't used Oracle Financials before.
Yeah, I mean the other option is, of course, that if you are an experienced Oracle finance consultant, that you can adopt the CLS to get to the cloud level. But if you're already a cloud consultant and need to train in the latest version, then that is already built into CLS for you as well. So, it's a fairly flexible platform, and obviously, if you're a functional technical person that's worried about their future as a technical person in the cloud and wants to cross-train to being a functional consultant, which is a very successful move that even Aidan did himself some time ago. Those options are there. So there is still a pretty bright future for everyone out there, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, on the topic of using your EBS experience to get cloud roles, I think that this is far from certain that you'll be able to get a cloud role without either cloud training or previous cloud experience. The only exception, if your company is implementing cloud and you've got a good reputation, you can leverage that reputation. Otherwise, it's really uncertain. The systems integrators in an uncertain market look for whatever guarantees they can get about your skills, and that means training, or that means certification. So this is the way, rather than trying to be sort of, taking the slow route, what we're offering is the fast route to be one of the leading cloud consultants in the market, to get the cloud experience so that you'll be in pole position when the roles come up.
Yeah, I think that's a really key point. Whereas before, I mean, going back to when we upgraded from 10.7 character and went to GUI, and then from there to 11.03 up to 11i, from 11i to release 12, the system was changing, but it wasn't as big a change as we've got now. the implementation life cycles have changed, the way that the system itself is structured has changed, the way that it's implemented has changed, the way that the customers adopt it is changed, the way it's used is changed slightly, processes remain the same, but it's a configurable system, not a customizable one, and therefore being able to, kind of learn on the job, if you like, it's just not a case that you can do now. And a lot of the customers that I'm dealing with, many of which were on that previous slide, they want people that have experience or at least training to join their project team, and they're not open to allowing people on their project team or their BAU team who haven't got that experience, and that's a really key point. And the systems integrators that we're working with as well say exactly the same thing. And obviously, from an independent consultant perspective, if you already have 10+ years of Oracle EBS experience and you're leveraging that existing knowledge and then putting a layer on top of that with cloud, that makes you a very valuable asset, because you've already been through those implementation life cycles and you've already lived a lot of that project. You already have the soft skills, you know how to deal with people, and adding that cloud layer on top really will set you apart from the rest of the market.
Yeah, we have another question from Madhav, who's asking the opportunities. I think it's the companies that we were talking about before. Are they specific to financials only or applicable for HCM also?
No. Hi, Madhav. I hope you're well. Yeah, we work with there's a couple of payroll clients. Payroll is a bit of a sore point at the moment, but certainly HCM has sold more than ERP at this point. So there are more HCM users in the UK than ERP. However, I know that more now Oracle is selling joint HCM and ERP deals together. So there are now equally as many HCM as ERP opportunities, and I know that there's a lot more now adopting supply chain as well. CX is actually a well-formed market, because one of the first products to go into cloud production with the emergence of Salesforce and NetSuite years ago mean that there already are adopters of CRM cloud that have been in CRM cloud for like 7, 8, 9 years. So that's quite a mature market. So, yes, there's plenty of CX and sales cloud opportunities out there. There's plenty of HCM opportunity, and there's plenty now ERP as well. It did take a little while for ERP to take off, but it is now taking off quite aggressively.
And one thing I don't think we covered was, is there any expectations around salaries or rates that we could talk about for cloud versus EBS?
Yeah, I mean, again, the market's still in its infancy, but from a solution architectural perspective, which is where I think a lot of people, if you're an existing EBS consultant, you kind of want to pitch yourself if you've been through that learning. You're depending on the client, again, you should be looking between sort of 550 and 650 sterling a day, maybe more than that depending on the responsibilities. As a permanent resource, it depends whether you're doing a sysadmin role or whether you're doing a support position or testing role, or whether or not you're going to be doing more of a lead type activity. And those positions can go between 50 and 80. As an implementation consultant with an SI, you can go up as high as 6 figures. It just really does depend on the role, but there's some good salaries out there and some very good opportunities out there as well. Any other questions, Aidan?
I think that's when Daniel had another question. I'll just try and pick it up here. Daniel's asking if we're offering new CLS or specific cloud subscription.
within this offer here, if I'm getting the question right, so within this offer here, we're offering CLS, so cloud learning subscriptions. If any of you are looking at unlimited cloud learning subscriptions, then we'd need to have an offline one-on-one conversation, but I'm sure that there's something that we can do.
Yeah, and Daniel just mentioned that there's a lot of system support roles out there at the moment. So. Yes,
I mean, I was speaking to a very, very large manufacturer 2 days ago, and they are very nervous about the fact that they have a large systems integrator on site at the moment, and what happens when they leave? You know, it's like they're left holding a baby. They don't have knowledge internally. Yes, we could provide them some training, but they need people. They need bodies with experience, or at least, you know, Oracle experience, but have recent training in cloud. And, you know, that they're not alone, and they will not continue to be alone either. So, yes, there will be roles in support if you prefer support. But equally, I don't think support is just support this day and age, because I think there'll be more involvement in the test cycles and those upgrade cycles that come along as well. So it's a much more interesting role, if you like. So there's going to be plenty of work out there, I think, is the answer I'm trying to give, if that makes sense.
Yeah. So we'll just see if there's any final questions now. We've gone over time a little bit. I'm not sure if there's anything else. Thanks, Gary. It's good to be able to present. I hope you enjoyed the presentation.
Yeah, I'd just like to say thanks to everyone for spending an hour of your, or a little bit more than an hour of your day today. Contact details are here. Please don't hesitate to reach out with any questions, and obviously we'll follow up sending out a copy of the recording and the presentation as well, Aidan. Is that right?
I'm going and Don.
Hello. Okay, I just saw one more question come through there. Are the table structures similar in cloud to release 12? And does the training cover using Toad or SQL Developer against the tables? So, Tony, I'm not sure about whether the technical training covers SQL Developer or table structures.
I'm pretty sure it will cover the table structures and the data migration and importing aspects. Whether or not, I mean, I can't see any, I don't remember seeing reference to Toad, so I need to come back on that. But the other question was about the table structures. I'm not a technical person, but I've been led to believe by those that are, and those that have already been through these projects, that the table structures are very, very similar between eBusiness Suite and cloud applications.
Okay. So, Rashad has asked, it wouldn't be worthwhile to doing some platform as a service training as well from the point of view for integration with software as a service?
Sorry, I didn't quite hear that question. Could you just repeat that for me?
Could you go on mute, please? I'm hearing some background noise. Yeah, so the question is whether there's any platform as a service training involved.
Okay, yeah. So there is a PaaS learning subscription, but again, if you're looking to take on that PaaS understanding and that deep PaaS technical training, you'd probably be better off to opt for an unlimited cloud learning subscription as opposed to buying a SaaS CLS and then buying a PaaS CLS. Because that would be sort of doubling up on the cost. So my suggestion would there be, if you want to get deep into that that PAS training as well would be to take on the UCLS as opposed to a CLS.
Okay, Pradeep is asking, will Oracle Cloud hamper the market of support and maintenance like they did in Release 12 and Release 11i?
I don't think I'm qualified to answer that question, if I'm honest.
Yeah, I mean, from my perspective, I guess the answer is not right now, but eventually that possibly will happen, but we're looking at a 10-year window for that, I think, at least.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. I think that's it. So just from my own perspective, thanks for giving us the opportunity to present. We'll wrap up now and we'll send on the presentation details. You'll have access to the recording. By going into the updated meeting space, you'll get an email from WebEx saying that your meeting space has been updated. That's the video. It should happen in around an hour or so. And we'll be in touch with any materials from the presentation. If you want to get in touch or ask any questions, the contact details are on the slide here, and we'll put them into the email as well.
Okay. And from me, thanks very much. Thank you very much, everyone, for your time. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.